Hi, this is Allie Schilling with AllieStamps.com, and today I wanted to share with you the cards that we're making for the January Technique Thursday classes. And I also wanted to share with you an actual tutorial on how to make this creped filter paper rose. So these are the cards that we're making at Technique Thursday. So this is the heartfelt card. It's embossed in espresso. We've got some fun little pearls around the side, some laser designer hearts, and then we've got this creped filter rose, which is kind of the star of this video. So we'll come back to that. So we've got that card. We've got the best things in life aren't things, and this technique is the baby wipe technique, where you'll be making an ink pad out of baby wipes and re-inkers to get that image stamped there. And then the other card that we're making for Technique Thursday in January is this Sweet Friend card, and this is watercoloring with Watercolor Wonder crayons. So the resource pages is, because you're making 3 cards, you'll receive 3 resource pages to go along with them, and those include the instructions for the technique that you learned, and then you do that technique another time so that you get a sample of that technique to keep and to hang on to for future reference. So all of these resource pages are printed and included in your class or kit registration, and then you make that technique again. So you also receive these clear translucent envelopes to keep them safe in. So in total, at a class, so a class is $15 for Technique Thursday, and you're getting to make the 3 actual cards and then the 3 resource pages. So that's what we have in the lineup for January Technique Thursday for the technique portion of the class. And just to give you a peek at what you can really collect. These are all of the, when you come to your first class or you order your first full kit, you will receive this free cover page, a binder, ring, and some ribbons to tie on, and then that is what will start your collection. And every month you'll add 3 resource pages to this little binder so that you can be collecting all of these different, these are all techniques. These are just the techniques that we've done since, I believe, May is when I started this. So you can just see, once you get into this, the wide variety of techniques that you'll be learning. So that's kind of exciting too, to watch your ring grow of techniques. Okay, so coming back to this card and the creped paper filter rose. The creped paper comes like this. You get 6 6-inch diameter circles and 4 sheets of 12 by 6 filter paper. So this is a full pack of the white creped filter paper. You can order it on my website at AllieStamps.com. Just click shop now. You'll get Allie's online ordering rewards, and the item code is 129393 for that. And what I've done is I've actually cut down the filter paper to a 3.5-inch circle. So you can use that large 6-inch diameter circle for bigger roses, but for a card it was a little bit too large, so I cut it down with a 3.5-inch circle die. Then you're going to take your circle. You're going to use, this is just water and a mister. You're going to mist heavily onto that creped paper. And then you're going to come in with sponge daubers. And I've got here pink pirouette re-inker, cherry cobbler re-inker, and chocolate chip re-inker. And then there's a sponge dauber for each color. I'm going to start with the lightest, pink pirouette, and I'm just going to pounce on this creped paper. And yes, it is a little bit hard to see where your actual paper is versus your grid lines, but that's okay. It's a fun surprise. So, all right, so we've got pink pirouette on there. Then I'm going to come in with some cherry cobbler. And I'm not going to use quite as much of the cherry cobbler as I did the pirouette. And then you can rub it. You don't have to just pounce. You can blend. So that's not quite covering the whole thing. I'm going to leave some of the edges with the pirouette. And then I've got some chocolate chip, and this is going to be a very small amount, and this is mostly going on the grid paper just to blot it. So faint amounts of chocolate just to kind of stain, give a little bit of shading in that rose. Alright, so that's what I have. Every rose is going to come out different. You can do all different colors of roses. And then you're just going to take a heat tool and dry. There is a heat ink dry setting on the new heat tool, but I'm just doing it full throttle with the embossing setting just to get it dry extra fast. Okay, so you can kind of see here. Okay, so once you have your creped paper completely dry, you're going to go in with some scissors, and you're going to start really anywhere and just start cutting it in a spiral. And you want your spiral to be about 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch wide, this way. And then you'll just keep cutting all the way. All the way. And you want to get right in good to the inside, like that. Alright, so this is what you have. There's a spiral circle. And then if you're doing a bigger rose, you would just have more of a spiral. You wouldn't want this to be much thicker. And then I'm going to take some tweezers or pliers. Tweezers would work best. They'd be a little bit more gentle, but I couldn't find any right now. So my pliers, I'm just going to twirl. And what you're wanting to do is make a nice, really tight center. So you want the center of this rose to be extremely tight. So when you look down into it, you can see the tightness. And I try, when I'm doing this center, to kind of keep the bottom of this paper rolled up evenly along the base of where the pliers are. Okay, so once you get a start of a tight center, you're just going to carefully wiggle these out. You don't want to pull that center that's in there right back out. You want to be careful about that. And then you're just going to, with your hands, loosely wrap the rest of the way. And you're going to intentionally leave a little bit of gap. You want it to be loose and chunky to just mold that shape of the rose that you want. And you can start to see how, when you roll, how it's forming with all of that color that you've dyed. You get some real variety in the rose. So when you're looking at it with just the circle center, it looks kind of blah. But when you start to roll it, that work that you did with the color blending starts to show. You can see how, and it's always a surprise how it's going to end up, which is kind of fun. But my center is where my dark chocolate was. And as I've blended out, it's gotten a little bit lighter. We've got some of the cobbler in there. So we're going to make that rose. We're going to go all the way to the end of that spiral. So you've got your rose. And to keep your rose together, you're going to take hot glue on your silicone. This is the silicone craft mat by Stampin' Up. I'm just going to put some hot glue, blop it right on the center of that craft silicone, and then just stick the rose down. And we're going to hold it like this. And we're just going to hold it and let the glue dry and harden. Okay, so once the hot glue is hardened, you can just pick up your silicone craft mat, and the rose will just pop off of the pad. Oh, it could have dried just a little bit more, but you get the idea. So this is all hardened together, and you've got your rose base. And then you can just use a little bit more hot glue to attach this rose to a card. Here's our lineup for January and the resource pages to go with them, so that you can keep all of these great techniques at your fingertips and start collecting to build your own technique library.